Did you know that between 1984 and 2004, this drink right here was classified as an illegal performance-enhancing drug? And if you drank too much of it, you would actually fail a drugs test. I want you to imagine going back to the 1990s and failing a drugs test because you drank too much coffee. Well, for 2 decades, the International Olympic Committee actually placed caffeine on its list of prohibited substances. A doping offence back then was defined as having a urinary caffeine concentration above 15 micrograms per milliliter, which a year later was lowered to 12 micrograms. That cup of coffee you drink every morning, it was once treated like a performance-enhancing drug that could get you banned if you had too much. Today though, and quite fortunately, caffeine is no longer banned. Why was it even banned in the first place? In the early days of anti-doping, regulators focused heavily on stimulants. So in 1984, they put caffeine on the list of banned substances because high doses of it were shown to blunt fatigue and improve endurance. In other words, caffeine enhanced performance. The threshold for caffeine was set high enough to allow normal tea and coffee intake, but low enough to prevent athletes from taking excessive amounts. But by 2004, the ban was removed because it was practically impossible to enforce fairly. Habitual coffee drinkers could naturally find themselves close to that limit. And due to individual genetics, athletes metabolize caffeine at completely different rates. And as research grew, it became clear that caffeine is actually safe at normal doses, widely used in everyday life, and quite simply, it just doesn't meet the criteria for a true doping substance. How does caffeine actually work? Caffeine is a naturally occurring alkaloid found in coffee beans, tea leaves, and even cocoa. After we consume it, it quickly enters the bloodstream and typically peaks in the blood after around 30 to 60 minutes, depending on the source. It then crosses the blood-brain barrier and stimulates the central nervous system. And to appreciate how this works, we first need to understand the molecule called adenosine. Adenosine binds to adenosine receptors in the brain and is able to build up throughout the day. And this buildup of adenosine that can slow down neural activity and make you feel tired. This is where caffeine comes in. Caffeine has a similar chemical structure to that of adenosine, so it actually competes for those same receptors in the brain. This in turn blocks adenosine from binding. Imagine trying to put your key into a door that's already got a key in it. It's not gonna happen. And as a result, caffeine is able to increase neurotransmitter release, improve motor unit firing, and it can even suppress pain. So for exercise, that means a reduced perception of effort and a delay in fatigue. We have a huge body of research showing time and time again that caffeine enhances performance. In fact, it's one of the most researched supplements in the world. How do we use caffeine properly? Effective doses range from 3 to 6 milligrams per kilogram of body weight, with some benefits appearing as low as 2 milligrams per kg. But when we dose above that 6 milligrams per kilo, we don't get any additional benefits, and it just increases the risk of those negative side effects. So for context, a 70 kilo individual would be looking to consume between 210 and 420 milligrams of caffeine. And this would be taken around 30 to 60 minutes before exercise, depending on the source. For example, caffeine chewing gum will peak much quicker in the blood than tablets or drinks would. And although caffeine is no longer prohibited, you still need to be smart about it. There are potential side effects, including insomnia, anxiety, nausea, headaches, tremors, and even dizziness. I can recall numerous times when I've taken too much pre-workout and suffered the consequences. And as a general rule of thumb, I'd recommend consuming your last bit of caffeine at least 8 hours before bed. This gives the body a fighting chance of clearing it so you can get a good night's sleep. If you found this little breakdown helpful and you enjoy learning the science behind nutrition, then feel free to check out the Qualified Nutrition Certification course. It's where I teach all of this, but in far more depth. And of course, if you enjoyed the video and want more content like this, drop the video a like and subscribe to the channel.